everyone, and welcome back to Curly and Yarny. Here it's Milena, and today I have a special video in which I will be telling you more about weaving with finer yarns on a rigid heddle loom. So let's get to it. I was asked recently to do a project in which I will tell some tips about how to weave with finer yarns. Although I have no magic recipe for weaving with finer yarns, I will try to give you as much as insight or tips that I have developed over time to help me weave with this yarn. I'm doing this video at the same time as I am doing the video on this spring scarf. So if you like what's on the loom right now and you would want to learn more about how I did it, there's a video right there, but today I will mostly be giving tips for weaving with such yarns. So for this video today, I am mostly weaving with Tencel, but I feel like Tencel and cotton, 8-2 Tencel or 8-2 cotton are very similar in the way that they are woven. For today's video, the trick that I will give you will apply to any other fine yarn. And right off the bat, I want to tell you, I don't think that the bigger part of the challenge for me doesn't come from the fact that they are fine yarns, but they come from the fact that they are yarns that are not very flexible. As opposed to acrylic, for example, I feel like most of the challenge with weaving with yarn like this is having an even tension. And as they are not very flexible, they don't forgive if you have tension problems. As if with acrylic, this yarn is very flexible. So most acrylic yarn are flexible. So if you have some tension issues, it's easy to fix. You just crank it up a little bit more and the yarn can take a few more crank and you can keep on weaving, as it's not really possible with this. I have no magic formula, I have no magic trick, I have no easy fix for this. As with a lot of things with weaving, the best advice would be to practice. The more you do, the more you will be comfortable with weaving with yarn that are finer, and then you will develop your own tricks and mostly you will get the hang of it. You will get a better feeling of how it's done. My biggest trick I can give you with weaving with finer yarns would be simply to start with projects that are not as wide, starting with projects that are narrower. I feel like most of the problems occur when we wind the yarn onto the back beam, and then the way we wind it onto the back beam will just affect the weaving as we unroll the warp to weave. And the narrower the project is, the easier it is to manage the tension as we wind it onto the back beam. So if the project is, for example, 10 inches wide or 15 inches wide, it's much easier to grab it in your hand than having a project that's, for example, 24 inches wide or 32 inches wide. This is much harder to hold into one hand or two hands, and it's much harder to make sure that you have an even tension all the way through. I cannot stress enough how crucial it is that you wind the warp evenly onto the back beam, and you can take as much time as you need to do this. You can take breaks and just always make sure to readjust often to make sure that you always have it even. As we grab it, for me, I noticed that the outer edge, it will make like a triangle when we grab it. So I have a feeling that the threads that are near the selvages, they are often more tensions than the one in the middle. So this is something that you want to look out for and make sure that you always regrip and retake the threads and make sure they're equal. Again, feel free to comb the threads as much as you can. This also helps avoid tiny threads here and there that are looser than the other one, because sometimes the threads, they like to rebel and they like to spring out of place when you really don't want them to. And also, of course, use a warp separator, whichever you like the best. For me, I like crafted paper. The challenge of weaving with finer yarns, it's simply that you will need more patience, because finer yarn usually means that you will want more threads per inch to have a denser fabric. So when we usually start with a 7.5 heddle, which means there are 7.5 threads in 1 inch. And then with finer yarns, for example, 8-2 cotton or 8-2 Tencel, that would be way not enough threads per inch, so you want to move maybe to a 12.5 head hole or a 15 head hole, and then this will take way more time to warp and way more time to thread the head hole because you have way more threads per inches. So patience really needs to be one of your strong suit while warping, so you might find it a bit tricky when you start with finer yarn, that having that many threads to thread can be a bit painful, but that's my other trick. There's really no magic trick, again, just being more patient with the help with that. So this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you also have other tricks that you like to use to weave with finer yarns, please make sure to leave a comment down below. I'll be very happy to read it. And in the meantime, I hope you're all well, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.